It is Friday, August 26, 2016. We're pleased to bring you today's edition of the Government News Brief. Welcome. In the news, Attorney General Basil Williams investigates legitimacy of titles issued to indigenous communities days before the 2015 national elections. Region 8 residents call on government to speed up opening of the Cato Secondary School, and CDC's urged to work with the respective regional administration to have issues addressed. Stay tuned as we bring you the details of these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. I am Azim Khan, and here now are the details. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams is looking into the legality of a number of certificates of titles issued to several indigenous communities just before the May 2015 elections. Details in this report.
Residents in a number of Amerindian villages now find themselves having titles that are of no legal standing. These titles were handed out by the previous administration. The matter was raised with Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman at the National Tushaus Council meeting and again at Mbaimadai by Mr. Austin, Vice Captain Omanik Kamdari, Village Region 7.
Lately we received a land title certificate. We understand that it's not recognized by GGMC, and we often wonder if this certificate is valid and why it is not public or gazette, and none of the GGMC officers recognize it.
Minister Trotman says the government has found many villages that were issued certificates of titles just before the May 2015 general and regional elections, but have no records to show that the certificates are valid.
Yesterday, I spent all afternoon with the National Tushaus Council, and some of the very things you're saying came up. That just before the elections, a set of documents that in law is purporting to be titles were handed out. But when we check the records, there's a missing gap between the process and the signatures.
The Natural Resources Minister says the government is seeking to unravel what really happened. Many of the cases are now with the AG's office.
And many of them are with the Attorney General's chambers now for advice to see if somebody should be charged for fooling the people. You understand? Because it's mischief. But it's cruelty to come and lie to you and fool you, maybe to get the vote. I'm not sure what was it that was involved. But we're investigating these things, and we may have to pass them on to the police actually.
The Omanik Kamdari Village Region 7 certificate of land title was issued on March 10, 2015. The document was signed by former President Donald Ramotar. Shanta Gobodan with this Government News Brief.
Region 8 residents are eager for the opening of the Cato Secondary School. Details in this report.
Residents of Kayuni Mazaruni are calling on government to speed up the completion of remedial work on the Cato Secondary School. After 3 years, the school remains incomplete due to severe structural defects, leaving in a state of uncertainty the teachers and close to 400 students who were expected to occupy the facility. The residents' appeal was represented by Tushau of Cato, Region 8, Clifton Pereira, at the National Tushaus Council meeting.
We, the residents of Cato sub-region 1, Region 8, asking that the government put system in place to speed up this process of getting secondary school to be open sooner rather than later. Why? While this delay, this, I should say, like cat and mouse games going around, people blaming one another, people not accepting the blame. The people who are suffering is the children because they are being denied their proper education while these things are taking place. Also teachers who are ready to do their part to contribute towards the education are all disappointed because of this ongoing thing.
The contract for the school project was awarded under the previous government to Caris Engineering Inc., with work commencing in 2013 and set to be completed in April 2015. After several delays and moving back the deadline, a recent detailed assessment by the new administration revealed structural defects that render the school unsafe for habitation. The Cato School, envisioned to be the most modern secondary in the country, was initially billed at $780 million, but the final tally put the project at close to $1 billion. Detailed assessment on the work completed, however, revealed only about 10% of the school was structurally sound. Approximately 60% of the project was in defect, with another 30% just over the borderline. Remedial works on the building would cost another $140 million. Shanti Goberdan with this government news brief.
The Ministry of Social Protection will be working with various agencies to facilitate easy access for senior citizens to uplift their pension in hinterland locations. More in this report.
Reports that pensioners in the hinterland and remote communities have difficulties uplifting their pensions are being looked at. Minister of Social Protection Valda Lawrence says her ministry is currently working with various companies to address the issue of effectiveness and timely payments.
We have been working with a few community organizations to assist the post offices in putting accommodation. We are looking at ways in how we can help you and help those senior citizens and persons on public assistance from not having to travel those long distances to get money. So I'm asking you to bear with us as we look at all the possible ways that we can bring the services much closer to you.
The minister was at the National Tushhouse Conference being held in Georgetown. Further, Lawrence noted that having one post office serving several communities is not enough because some elderly people have to travel from village to village. To address the situation, the ministry will carry out a review to determine which post offices can be reopened or where new ones can be established. The need for a standard form of identification was also raised at the conference. In the various communities, pensioners use their passports and old identification cards to try to uplift their pensions. Ricardo Banwari, Assistant Chief Probation and Social Services Officer, addressed this.
Earlier, our ministry had a press release stating that we must ensure that all senior citizens who are in receipt of citizen pension must have a 9-digit ID number. We are working closely with you to assist because it's important that we have the 9-digit ID number so that we will have more transparent system, and we will work closely with GCOM to get all seniors regularized. Also, we're encouraging Tushhouse, please make use of the continuous registration program that is currently ongoing.
Minister Lawrence noted that efforts are being made to improve the conditions of Mabaruma Post Office and to create a building where pensioners from far-flung areas can overnight. For this government news brief, Shivani Rampasad reporting.
Community development councils in the hinterland are urged to engage regional governing bodies to have their needs addressed. More in this report.
Minister of Communities Ronald Bulkan says that community development councils must engage with the regional democratic councils. The CDCs have been asking how they can access resources.
Whatever CDCs are currently in place, I believe that what you need to do is whatever concerns you have, is you would have to seek to engage your RDC and to convince them to to bring attention and to bring relief to whatever issues and concerns that affect the residents of your respective communities.
Minister Bulkan further explains that community development councils are as a result of a regime that was not legally implemented.
It is one that was created probably out of expediency, and it is something that we have inherited. So I regret that I can't give you, there is no provision at the level of the central government that allows that it can provide central government resources directly.
Bulkan has advised that the CDC work along with the RDC and the neighborhood democratic councils to advance community development. For the government news brief, Sinika Torn.
Indigenous people are calling for easy access to information on funding which they can access for community development projects. We have more in this report.
One such project is the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility, FCPF, which is part of the Reduced Emissions from Deforestation and Degradation Plus, or RED Plus. Through the FCPF, Guyana has in excess of US $3 million for developmental projects in communities that are within forested areas. Paul Atkinson of Santa Rosa says funding opportunities should be explained in simpler terms.
But really and truly, I think some of us here just hear these terms, and so what does it mean really in layman terms? What actually are the actual benefits to us as Indigenous peoples?
These concerns were raised during the National Tushaus Council meeting. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman told the Indigenous people that he understands their concerns and will soon begin meeting with them to explain the available funding.
But what we'll do, we'll gather you in clusters, and not just at some regional office, but we'll get us deeply into the interior as we can, into the villages, into the communities, as many as we can, and we will be taking this message, hearing from you, and telling you what it is about.
Guyana is one of 5 pilot countries identified for the FCPF project, which works with developing countries to prepare and then implement RED Plus projects. The Guyana Forestry Commission had to prepare a readiness preparation proposal before funding was released through the Inter-American Development Bank. Meanwhile, Atkinson says that Indigenous people would like to have greater input in programs targeting their communities.
In our programming and planning, and we are moving from where we just accept from government whatever development programs they have in national, we're moving towards planning for our own development too.
Minister Trotman assures that this will be done. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
Those are the reports we covered in today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GINA's website, Facebook page and YouTube channel. To be updated as the news unfolds, subscribe to our website and YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. All government and other information can be accessed from GINA's website, Facebook page and YouTube channel. Join us again on Monday when we bring you another edition of this, the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching and have a safe weekend.